In a world where local musicians and artists are unrated, underappreciated, unnoticed, battered, abused, and swept under the rug.
Living show to show without secure benefits like medieval jesters.
Run with the kittens.
You're actually listening to it right now. I played a song for my hamster that just died.
Class.
I lied.
Underplayed and underpaid.
Real local music. Use what you have.
All the canned rock stuff. And the canned rock stuff too.
Chuck wood around.
We won't get into that.
That's a good thing.
Mondays at 6 p.m.
Local special to me, really cool, amazing, incredible. Like, I need to rise up to this level.
Phenomenal.
Definitely incredible. Probably the coolest. Strong. You're a people-aholic.
Oh.
Why are you killing me?
I'll try not to swear.
CFRU 93.3.
Wow, the food was
Delicious.
had a smorgasbord of awesomeness.
It's not your regular breakfast sausage.
I also ate some cocktail wieners and drank some melon liqueur one morning very early on the tour bus.
Welcome to another installment of Underplayed and Underpaid. As always, it's Brian McNeil here, and I got a treat for you again this week. This month we're doing the history of Guelph music, and we're so lucky to have Bruce Hare and Jamie Todd of the band Hourglass. Thank you, Jim Hare, for bringing him in, and he's sitting in the corner. Jim Hare of the Nasties and formerly of the Dead Souls. So I want to send a shout out to Jim. Thank you very much, and thank you guys for coming. How you guys doing?
Great. Yeah.
Good.
Wonderful. And I guess since I got you privy to some of the questions, I should start with those ones, eh?
Yeah.
All right. So locally, first, thanks to Pete McCauley for coming in last week from Teenage Head. That was awesome. And if you want to check it out, go to the archives at CFRU.ca. And all right. So when it comes to local news or local music, local history, were you guys born and raised locally in Guelph?
I was raised in Guelph, yeah. I was born in Toronto, but I moved here when I was about 4 years old, so Guelph's my hometown.
That's great. And yourself, Jim?
Similar. I was born in Scarborough and grew up. When I was 5 years old, we moved out to Marden Road, and sort of grew up in the country out there.
Oh, yeah, Marden. Yeah, I used to go fishing at the trailer park that they got out there.
Oh, yeah.
And your brother, was he older or younger than you?
Yes, he's 3 years older than me, Rick Todd. Mm-hmm. And he's also born in Toronto and grew up in Guelph, too.
Cool. That's Mike Todd's dad. If you want to also go to the Underplayed and Underpaid Facebook page, you can click on the note, see the interview I did with your nephew Mike, and it's one of the first interviews I actually did. Great guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, good
definitely.
Okay, what was Guelph like when you guys were just getting into the music scene? Was there a lot of music going on, or
what was the start with the oldest guy or the baby? I mean, Jamie.
Start with Bruce. I think he's got a good history of Guelph.
Yeah, let's do counterclockwise the whole show. How about we do that?
All right.
Okay, all right.
Well, whatever. Well, I went on the road and I started the music business back in the early 60s. And we'd go down to the Ambassador Hotel or something with Gordy Machin and myself. We'd do a couple tunes in there. And back in the early days, it was a lot of big street dances in Guelph back in the late 50s and to the mid-50s. And you had Les Rosin and the Rockers. They were up there doing their thing. Now, Les is he's going to hate me for this. A couple of years older than I am, but I was just still taking my guitar lessons. And I seen Les on stage, and I said, gee, I'd like to do that, you know. So after that, I finally wound up going on the road, you know, doing some stuff.
Who taught you guitar?
I'm sorry?
Who was your guitar teacher? You said you were taking lessons.
Oh, Art Hall. Nobby Hall from Guelph here.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a great jazz player.
Great.
Yeah.
Right on.
Him and Short Greenway. Rolly Greenway's dad.
His father. Oh, wow.
Yeah, his father was a really good rhythm jazz player. Boy, I'll tell you.
That's terrific.
So I knew them all, and I played with bands back in the late 60s or mid-60s. One was called the Echoes, and we did a lot of Oompapa stuff with Keith Seibert, Bob Pileski, and the drummer's name was Harold Fritz.
Okay.
And we did a lot of country and stuff like that in Oompapa. Then moved off into Guelph back in the early 70s. We had Hourglass. I ran into these two guys called Rick Todd and Jack Phillies. And they had a little thing going there. Jack's keyboard player, very good one. And I said, well, yeah, I've got my nephew there. He's playing a bit of bass. Okay, well, we put that together, and we went out for a jam session at Jack's place out in Harris, and we wound up being Hourglass.
That's really cool.
Played all the bars in Guelph for the most part.
All right, Jamie, what was Guelph like to you from your perspective when you were joining the music scene?
Well, it happened that I can mention it now. But when I was younger, I used to play the accordion, and that was not cool because the Beatles were out. And so if you weren't playing guitar, you were not cool. I didn't want to get beat up or anything, so I didn't talk much about the accordion. And then when I was about 17 or 18, I was out camping, and everybody was playing acoustic guitars and singing around the campfires. So we used to camp in Elora a lot, and that was the thing to do. So I went down and I got a Kent guitar, and I started to learn the guitar, and we'd go out and we'd watch bands like the Copper Penny and Major Hubel's Boarding House. And then Hourglass was just starting to get together, as Bruce was saying. So there's a lot of influence there. But I was 3 years behind those guys. And so I was going to college at the time and just playing weekend jobs with a band called Some People's Kids. And so we had a little harmony band doing Four Seasons and Beach Boys and Beatles and that kind of thing, and it worked really well until I finally end up when Phil left the Hourglass. They were down in Florida, and so I joined them, and I had a whole month in Florida to learn the show and change from guitar to bass. And then from then it was just another 30 years of Hourglass. So
exactly. But back in the 60s, 65 and 66, around in there was so many places in Guelph that had entertainment. Like you had the King Eddie, the Chooch, that's the Royal Hotel. You had the Ambassador Hotel. You had the Regent Hotel. You had the Manor. You had all these places. There were a lot of places for local guys to play, and that's what we did. We played pretty well all these places. And we had a lot of fun, but there was an actual circuit that you could get into at that time, that you could, if you got the right agent, you can go out and you can make a living. It's not so much that much anymore.
There also was another big circuit, wasn't there? Was the high school dances. Every Friday night there'd be a high school dance. And
that's where Rolly got into a lot of that stuff too.
Sure.
Sorry.
Crowbar and Hooples and Copper Penny and Five-Man Electrical Band and George Oliver.
Yeah. Oh yeah, all them guys. They're all around. They were the circuit back in them days. You were playing with some pretty big names like that. You had, you said George Oliver, but there was a pretty lady, Ian Thomas, that he played the Chooch.
Yes,
he played the Chooch too. But back in them days, there was places to play, and you could go on the road. The agent can keep you busy all the time. But Guelph was a big center for entertainment. It was really promoted it.
Really?
Oh yeah, big time. 6 nights a week you'd see clubs full, and local bands playing.
Do you remember approximately what the population of Guelph was at the time?
At that time, well, I know when I moved to Guelph it was 32,000, I guess, when I was a kid. I remember driving out Aramasa Road to get top of the hill. You were in the country. But, I think back then it was probably, I don't know what it is now. How much is it? Well, now, 130?
I think with students around 130.
130, yeah, it was probably about 80,000, 70,000 back then.
You mentioned if you could get a hold of the right agent, you could get into the circuit.
Yeah.
Was there, do you remember any of the names of any of the agents that helped you get connected to the circuit?
The first one, when we took Hourglass out, we had Gar Rice, I guess, at first. But then we wound up with Bud Matten out of Toronto. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's when everything kind of sprung, and we wound up on the road and playing 6 nights a week all over from East Coast in, down to Florida and back, and all around like that. So it was a good time.
That's great.
We were a good bar band. We didn't want to do anything else.
Yeah. You know what? Actually, I think I caught you guys playing at the Red Chevron on Elizabeth Street. There was a hip-hop show upstairs.
Yeah.
And I was friends with one of the performers. Actually, my ex-girlfriend was performing. So I went there with my old host, who never shows up anymore. Braden, where are you? And we were there, and we're like, all right, yeah, we don't want to be here any further. Well, what's going on downstairs? Yeah. And we came in, and it must have been you guys having a great jam. We stood there for
this was just a while back, eh?
Oh, about a year ago.
About a year ago? Yeah, it was me and Guy Wilkes, I guess, or Willie O'Hagan. Yeah, a keyboard player or guitar player?
There was, I think, 4 or 5 people that were performing, playing.
Oh, yeah, we had everybody and their brother up. Yeah, we have a good time down there. A good jam session at the Red Chev.
Yeah, well, everybody was having a great time.
A bit of memorabilia about the Red Chev Club here in Guelph is they were a wonderful organization. And back in the early days, there used to be a thing called the Police Boys Band. And they supplied all the instruments and all the uniforms for the boys free. And girls, and whoever was taking lessons, and you got your lessons free. And then the Red Chevron Club took it over. And they sponsored, I don't know, hundreds of kids out of Guelph just a wonderful organization. And I got my music lessons there for about 3 years on clarinet and saxophone. But I found out I couldn't sing with a saxophone in my mouth, so that was my passion. So I went off to guitar, and that was it. But Red Chev really did a wonderful job.
Did you try it though, Bruce? Did you ever try singing and playing the sax at the same time? Maybe you could have done the flute.
Well, I was tongue-tied.
Okay,
a little bit on that thing.
Well, I mean, imagine somehow you could, devise some kind of an instrument like Peter Frampton with the guitar and some
the talk box.
Yeah, but the talk box with a saxophone.
Peter Frampton.
All right,
Jim's in the room. Yeah.
All right. Well, so trying to do some research on your band, Hourglass. One of the ways that I tried to find you guys was to plug right in on Facebook, Hourglass, and you get your metal band. And we're talking like these guys have like 12,000 likes. There's a metal band in Syria.
Yeah.
There's an electro. Pardon me, an electro metal band in Romania.
Well, they must have seen us somewhere.
They probably did. They probably do covers of your stuff only in metal. And there's also an Australian band, an emo band.
How do you do covers?
Well, if you've seen the Anvil documentary, they all do English, but
for sure.
in Germany. So yeah, did you ever encounter other bands with the same name, Hourglass?
No. The only thing was, I guess, when we played in Florida, because the Allman Brothers were known as Hourglass down there.
Okay.
That was the name of their band. And there's a little bit of you're not Hourglass. Well, yeah, it says from Toronto on the thing here. So, but we did okay. We did enough CCR to cover that.
I heard that when you guys were driving up to the venue, you saw a line that went around the block.
Oh, yeah, it was a lot of people outside there, and they thought it was the Allman Brothers.
Right.
Yeah. I wish it was the Allman Brothers at that time. Yeah.
I remember one time we were playing in Owen Sound, and we had a good thing going up there. And so New Year's was coming up, and there was another band, and it was kind of a dance band called Hourglass from Burlington.
Oh, really?
And so what happened was we had no idea this was happening. We were playing, I think, Sarnia at the time. But these people from Owen Sound chartered 2 buses and went down to Burlington to see us play, and they went in and it was a different band. So then they came back and they said, "What's going on?" And we come back to town. We didn't even know anything about these guys, Well,
they certainly were disappointed, that's for sure.
I don't know what happened, but that's a story about it. And there's a band out east was called Hourglass too.
Yeah,
I never saw them either. Just like you, I was just looking through the internet, and there they were. It's easy. Could happen.
Yeah, for sure. I would. Yeah. Definitely, it's obviously a good band name. I mean, if everybody's, a lot of people using it.
There's some originality though to that. I remember. You said you met Rick and Jack and I guess Sandy Vano, and they had a band called Sands of Time.
Yeah,
and that's sort of like an Hourglass. So maybe was that a derivative? Is that how that happened, Bruce?
Well,
what happened?
I want to say exactly how it happened. But there was a pint involved.
Oh, okay.
And,
was it a nickel pint?
It was no. This is not that old. And no, we were just sitting around trying to think of a name of it out in Jack's place there in Eris. And we just come up with different names. I just happened to say, well, we do music for all times, and Hourglass, and everybody said, okay. Mm-hmm. They took the vote, and I was bigger. No, we just all agreed on it. It was a good name. We liked it, yeah. But just a jam session turned into rehearsals, and that was just so easy. Those guys, you walk in, and there's 3-part harmony, and I start singing, and all of a sudden they put 3-part harmony behind me, and I got chills. And I said, "Yeah, do you want a band? Do you want to go on the road?" Yeah, because I was on the road in the '60s, eh? Mm-hmm. So I thought, well, this looks really good. You get Jack Finlayson playing piano, and he knew every harmony line in the world. Well, so Rick and Phil, but it worked out really nice. It was really fun right from day one. From when I first run into Rick and he introduced me to Jack, and I already had Phil. It just fell into place.
Cool.
And we made a living.
So your creative process, was it pretty much jam and then come up with the riffs and then write lyrics to it after, or was it all on the fly?
We were all cover.
Oh, cover bands.
All cover, yeah. We were a show band. We went out and did everybody else's stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. There's other people. We all, I guess, wrote songs, but we never put them on stage. No. Because we were a working band.
I see.
People didn't care what we did. They wanted to hear Skinner. They wanted to hear all this stuff. They wanted to hear all. We did things like in Hourglass from 50s right straight up to whatever the day was, the time was that we were playing, you know. So we'd learn that stuff and put a show on for people.
I guess it must be similar to like DJs. In order for them to stay employed these days, they gotta, have the brand new cut that came out last night.
Yeah, it's a lot easier for them though.
Yeah, record
They have to
players.
spend 30 years practicing. I not saying anything against them. Just that, DJs don't have to learn a song.
It's true.
And that's all there is to it.
They just
And
gotta know how to beat
there's
it.
certainly a place for them, because at weddings and stuff like that, boy, bands need to have that variety of stuff behind them. The best thing to do is to have your favorite live band, then have a DJ take over for the last 2 hours. And that, to me, that would be perfect.
Have you guys ever heard of Romeo Sex Fighter? They play the Boathouse in Kitchener every Saturday afternoon. It's an all cover band. They do, you'd have to check it out. Like, they're just starting to do Grand Funk Railroad now.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's good stuff.
By request, yes. And
You know
they're
what?
they're phenomenal. Check them out.
What was fun about playing a Lifetime was, at the time, we were learning all these cover tunes and everything. And then later on, it became classic rock. And we go, wait a minute, we know all that stuff. So then we became a classic rock band because we happened to have learned all those songs anyways. And then
We already had that in our socks.
yeah. And there was a big swing to country in the 90s. So then we went that way for a while too. But there was originals too. Bruce did write some songs, and I wrote some songs. And one of the songs you're going to play today will probably is an original also.
That's yours. That's Jamie's song.
It'd be Piece of My Past.
No, Jamie's.
The Letter?
No, the other one, Jamie.
That one there.
No, the Letter was the Joe Cocker song.
Okay. And the other song, Dixie.
That was the what do they call it?
Joe Baez?
The band.
Oh, the band did it. Yes, you're right. Yeah.
Great. They drove old Dixie.
You're welcome.
So, in Guelph at the time, what were the music stores to purchase music, like, 8-track or vinyl or whatever?
Well, it was 45s and 78s when I was there, and that was Rutledge Music. It was on the corner of Wyndham Street and MacDonnell.
Ruggage music?
Rutledge.
Rutledge.
They were there originally. Then they moved up into the square. They were there. And, of course, Gord Taylor's music was around ever since Dirt. Gord's been around for a lot of years. I don't know if he still has it. I'm not sure. But everybody would deal with Gord Taylor. And he would rent stuff out and all that. You could get PAs from her and stuff like that. And we always said Gord's got more stuff in Newfoundland than he has in Ontario now, because everybody get it and move back to Newfoundland. So anyway, with Gord Taylor, there was Rutledge, and I think that was about it at the time.
That's really, for
Harold
renting
Rutledge
equipment,
had
yeah.
that store there for years and years. Ever since I was a kid, I remember on the corner of MacDonnell and Wyndham. You could buy sheet music there. You had a little booth there. You can go in and play a 45 and listen to it and buy it, or a 78. We had 78s back in the 50s,
What's there now? Do you remember? Do you know what would it be? McKay or Bobby O'Brien?
Coffee shop. There's that coffee
It's
shop
right
in
on
the
the corner there. Yeah.
What is it again?
Planet Bean.
Planet Bean.
Yeah.
Is that-
Oh, on the backside. Oh, okay. So
Backside
Carden Street and
No. If you're heading out Woolwich Street, Wyndham Street, going down to go under the bridge to head out down near the police station there, it's right when you come up to MacDonnell, it's on the left, right on the corner there.
Bobby O'Brien's is there now.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Okay.
Across the road.
And then he was in the square, where the first store in the corner on the square, if you go in the same direction, on the right-hand kitty corner there.
Okay. I'm thinking of Music in Orbit. So
Yeah.
Anyway,
Southwest corner of the square.
I'm glad that my non-girlfriend isn't listening, because she'd be spinning her head right now. Okay, so what music? What stores were there to buy gear? Your amps, your guitars, and stuff
Gord
like that?
Taylor.
That's just
That was
what
pretty
about
well
Kitchener?
Huh?
Was there anything in Kitchener, Cambridge?
Sherwood Music.
Oh, Sherwood Music was there.
And
we
Waterloo
went-
Music was another one big
Yeah.
one.
Woodland?
We dealt in Toronto with Lon McQuaid's back in them days.
Yeah.
And they were a road musician store back in them days. I'll say no more about today.
Okay. They've really evolved with the scene. You kind of
Yeah.
have to.
Yeah,
Sure.
they're going
Yep.
across the world,
Yep.
across the country now,
Yep.
for sure.
That's it. But they were really good to us back in the day.
Well, speaking of in the day, what influential bands toured the area besides obviously Hourglass? But now, what interested you in becoming the cover band of the musicians that you guys ended up becoming?
Well, Les Rosin and the J Rockers was one of the ones that influenced me the most. And then Later on, we had our band together there, and it was Eddie Larson and the Missing Links. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
You remember them?
Yes.
And they played at the King Eddie, and they were an excellent band. So, but they're all show bands. So that's what I always wanted to do, is a show band thing. So that was the ones pretty well that got me going.
And I saw that during the pub nights in college, it would be things like the 5-man electrical band and Copper Penny and Major Hoople's boarding house. And Yukon.
Oh, yeah, Major Hoople's.
Yukon was a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And,
yeah, Major Hoople's, no problem there.
All right. Well, how about we give the listeners a little taste of the band Hourglass? Is that all right?
Sure.
Cool. If we play that number 7.
It's only $25 a minute on this thing.
All right. Here's a song, "The Letter," which is a cover of
Joe Cocker.
being done by Hourglass, a Canadian band. So here you go. Enjoy. We'll be back in a few on Underplayed and Underpaid, University of Guelph Community Campus Radio, 93.3 FM, CFRU. Welcome back to Underplayed and Underpaid, University of Guelph Community Campus Radio show, where we deal with local music from all times. So, today on the show, we got Bruce Hare and Jamie Todd from the band Hourglass, a big touring Canadian band. And that was the Joe Cocker cover that we just heard called "The Letter." And what year did you record it? Where did you record it?
1972. 71 or 72, late 71. It was at Sound Canada Studio in Toronto.
Okay, and who did the mastering?
I'm not sure what the name is. It's on the album there, but there was Brian Ayres was the producer.
Yep.
And Jim Finch was he's on there, and Marty Beckler, which I'll tell the story now, is that we did that as a laugh, really, because Jim Finch and Marty Beckler are the same guy.
Really?
Marty Beckler's his real name. was from Godrich. Now, if he's listening, he's going to kill me. But I haven't seen him for 102.4 years. I don't know what the hell. But that's who's on there. That's who did that stuff. Yeah.
Terrific. Well, it sounded awesome. I mentioned that it reminded me of Burton Cummings. But then after listening to it closer, I was like, oh, yeah, definitely more like Joe Cocker.
But I don't know which one of us is supposed to be insulted with that one.
Me.
Me or Burton Cummings. I'm only kidding.
Oh, I mean, we're all Canadian. I don't think anybody's feelings would be hurt.
No.
We'd all just get together and apologize to it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So while I was rummaging through the internet trying to find more information on Hourglass, I came across a website for a gentleman named Paul Hawk.
Yep. Paul.
And he mentioned that he played with you guys and a bunch of other bands.
Oh, yeah. Paul's been around like all of us for a long time. And I never played in Hourglass with Paul. But when I left Hourglass, in about 75?
Yes.
74? Something like that. I went out west for a while and I come back and you guys had Hourglass still going. And I come out to see you in, where the heck was that, Brantford?
In Brantford.
In Brantford? Yeah. Alexander's, yeah. And it was that's probably the best show band I ever seen in my life. And Paul's out did a great Elvis. And you had Larry Downing on guitar. Oh my goodness, what a guitar player. And you had Jimmy Jenkinson and Ray Laurinaitis and Rick, the great drummer, and all that stuff. And Jamie, of course. And Paul was in that band. And then a few years later, when I come back from out west, Paul and I joined up and had a band called Garrison too. So I played with him in Garrison, but not in Hourglass. But Jamie's more of a authority on Paul.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Good
Paul,
guy.
yes, same thing. Bruce has pretty much got it covered. Paul was very conscious about show, and we'd all get together. And after Bruce left, Bruce was probably 80% of the show in the first Hourglass because he owned the PA system. Actually, he did the fronting and the singing, right? And so after he left, we all had to do more work, and so we all got together and we said, well, how can we make this a show? How can we make this interesting? So we take different segments of the show 10 minutes long and say, okay, well then this is going to be the Elvis thing. Paul's going to do it, and he's going to go out there, and we dressed them all up and got the lighting system going and worked on the PA sounds and all that, and that became a good show. And then Larry Downing and I did the bluegrass thing, fiddle and banjo and that was back in the 80s. That bluegrass was really happening, and the Good Brothers had a real good run out of it also because they were doing bluegrass at the time. And then Rick used to do comedy, and he would stand up front, do stand-up comedy, and again theatrical things. So that's what happened, and Paul was very good at that. He loved the idea of doing a show, and I think his son now, Jonathan, is in theater. So there you go. It just seems to keep running different generations, and that part of that's the story on Paul.
Cool. Yeah. Sounds like there's a little bit of vaudeville in there then.
Yeah,
in the
especially from him. Yeah,
especially when Paul ran through the club in the underwear doing the street.
Yeah, we did the street.
That was the funniest thing I ever seen in my life.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah, Paul would do anything for a show, and he was a great guy, and he still is.
That's cool.
And if he's listening to this, you owe me a pint. Anyway.
Okay. Has the quality of music gone down since the 60s, would you say? I mean, I was just saying, vaudeville adding to the show versus, more lights and way too much volume, which would kind of seem to be the difference to me.
I think in our era, we had everything was kind of, the visual was as important as the entertainment value was as important again as the music. So the visual, the audio, and the entertainment value, that's what we worked on. So it wasn't just geared around the music, was it, Jamie?
No.
It was geared around how can we entertain people? How can we make it a house party? I guess that's how the attitude of Hourglass was for the most part. Can we make these people feel like it's a house party and have fun? As whether music's gone up or down, I like all music. I don't care what. I even like my son's band. Jeez. You
going to do any Nasties covers?
The Nasties, yeah. Oh, I could cover that, yeah.
But which song would you cover if you...
That one. Yeah.
So, and, it's going clockwise, right? Okay, I think counterclockwise. Yeah, I think that music goes in cycles, and it becomes it starts out very basic, like Buddy Holly doing, That'll Be the Day, and then it evolves and evolves, and until the point that it's so difficult that somebody has to come along and make it easier again, and then so everybody can get involved again. And it did a cycle in the 60s. It started out very simple, like with the Beatles, and everybody could sing along, and then it got more involved, more intricate, until finally they had to come out basically with sort of punk music again. And when that come out, it started, everybody can get out there, they're all dancing and they're getting into it, and then it becomes more sophisticated, until it becomes so hard that somebody else is going to have to go out and do the cycle again. And I think that the cycle is back with Jim. And and it's just a blast. They're having a ball, and so I think music goes in cycles. And I can tell you, even disco did the same thing. When it first came out, everybody thought, "Oh, that's great! I can dance to it." And the dance floors were full, and it was really hard on real bands because the disco was out. But then it got with Saturday Night Live. You were afraid to go out on a Friday night and stand on that dance floor because anybody's watching. You're supposed to do all these flips through the air and everything. So it was too difficult. So then they came out with Rock Lobster, and everybody could get down. Remember, it was fun. The whole dance floor was full again, and it cycled again. So I think that's what music. I can't say. It's some of the stuff that's out now is so difficult. I was watching some shredding on the guitar today, and I don't even know what they were doing. I have no idea, and I'd have to slow it down somehow to see where it's going. And it happened with Van Halen back and Steve Vai back in the day. They took guitar playing from what the Cars were doing, dig, 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 ding, ding, and it was really simple. But then it got to be Steve Vai whipping along on this keyboard. Well, now it's time to go back and do the cycle. So I think that's what happens.
Well, every generation has their music too, and you can't be an old fogey and pick on it. You have to say, hey, they're doing their thing. That's what they did. I did mine. I enjoyed it. So get into it. Check it out.
Yeah, definitely.
Relax
Check out
and
the
have some
Nasties.
fun.
And I think if you're talking about Guelph music, Janice and I go down there on a Friday night, and we love Guelph. We go down there. And a few years ago, everybody said, what are we going to do about downtown Guelph? What are we going to do? Oh, there's no business. Now the place is packed.
Booming. Yep.
And then they put the police out there to stop them from having fun. Yeah. And then it even gets to be more fun because let's go to the town where it's so much fun they have to put cops around it to stop them from having fun. So I say go Guelph and have a ball.
Yeah.
It's great. You want to have a good time?
Guelph has always been a big promoter of live music. It always has. They promoted me so well back with Hourglass and bands before that I was able to make a living at it, raise my family, and to me that's really great. If it hadn't been for the people of Guelph at the time and the junior farmers, remember that bunch? Boy, were they a riot or what? And they used to come out and see us all over, and we played in Guelph, helped fill the rooms up, and that it was just absolutely amazing how they supported the local talent.
And that still, you can see that out at the Agricultural College with. The Stampede Ranch is packed all the time. That's the same thing as what used to be our junior farmers.
That's right, yeah. Everybody has their crowd and their things. Well, like I say, back in the 60s or something like that, I'm getting older now and, getting there. And I say back in them days, they used to throw their bra at you. Now they throw their walkers. So, it's fun.
Very good. And on that, how about we play your song, Jamie?
Okay, and this song is a song I wrote in Kingston, and at that time I thought I was on the road for a long, long time, probably 15 years, and I wrote a song about the past, about what I'd seen, and all these people who come around and they would say, do you still do my song? Do you still play the Beatles? Do you do this and that? And so what it was about was about the past. And then I played another 15 years after that, so I don't know what the next song is going to be.
So what's this one called for the listeners?
Piece of My Past.
Piece of My Past.
And no jokes, Bruce.
No.
Okay. Just kidding.
You wrote it in Kingston. How much time did you do?
Yeah.
All right, here's Jamie Todd, Piece of My Past on Underplayed and Underpaid. And stay tuned.
I saw a piece of my past, something that couldn't last. A chills run up and down my spine. Something that might have been was lost through hustle and time. And more chills run up and down my spine. 2 years Beatles? Do you still love the band? Did you ever make that record? And do you still play my song? Something's come over this place. I don't recognize a single face. I must be missing a page in time. I just need some time to think. Even little sister's old enough to drink. I might have made it down the line. Do you still play the Beatles? Do you still love the band? Did you ever make that record? And do you still play my song? Play my song.
That was a piece of my past by Jamie Todd of the formerly of Hourglass.
Yes.
Are you in any bands right now?
Well, right now we do a thing. It's Larry Downing from Hourglass and myself have a duo, and we play around. And we play at Finn McCool's in Guelph.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll also play at the Arena Bar on Saturday afternoons once a month. And then also I play what we call Thank God It's Friday. Every Friday afternoon I'll be at the Arena Bar, and I just play from 3 till 7. And people are all starting to gather around there, and hey, do you know this song? And do you know that song? We play a verse and a chorus or whatever, and it's sort of like a sing-along. It's like around the campfire. And so we're having fun like that. But still, we play about 2 gigs a week, Larry Downing and I, and he's down in Niagara Falls now, and he was with Hourglass for probably 20 years out of the 30, so great guitar player.
The girl who has the show before me, Kelly, shouts out Kelly, she mentioned that Thursday evenings they have an open stage or karaoke at the Arena Bar down at Wellington and Gordon. Have you ever?
I've never been to that, but I hear, and Anita runs that, and she's just awesome with the people, great with the people. So I think that she can get a lot of people up there because they confidence, and she's good at building them all up and getting them going. So it'd be a good show. I've seen her work at other places, so that'd be great.
Cool. Yeah. Well, there you go. If you want to, that should be something on musiclives.ca. Arendelle, get down there and go see the people at the Arena. It's a bar and grill, right?
Yeah, the Arena Bar and Grill.
Okay. So the scene. You said that it kind of went away and now it's coming back while we were speaking during your song. Do you remember or recall any particular reasons why it would have kind of diminished? Or, was it the was it the club promoters wanting to bring in more of the disco stuff and DJs?
The disco probably happened in the 80s, and that was a real blow to bands that were traveling around, because club owners could buy $75,000 worth of lights and PA, and then they were just doing the disco, and they didn't need to be buying these bands anymore and then paying them the big money. And so, as you know, if you don't get paid enough money, you have to do something to make the money, and you can't be rehearsing. So then the caliber of the bands, we lost that in the 90s. It went down. And I was with Hourglass traveling around. We were going as far as Sault Ste. Marie to go Thursday, Friday, and Saturday to play in a rock band. We were doing classic rock, and it was that far. And then I fell out of my garage and broke my back. I had 6 weeks laying around, and I found out there was a country scene. And so it was all over the place. It was the Corral in Kitchener, and the Stampede Ranch in Guelph, and London had one, and the airport in Sarnia. And so I learned this country show, and I found out it was basically country was, I don't want to get anybody mad out there, but I think was kind of borrowing from rock and roll. Like the Boot Scootin' Boogies sound to me pretty rock and roll, and then they said Elvis was theirs. So who I always thought was a rock and roller, but now country says Elvis is there. So then all of a sudden I said, well, that's okay. We know all that stuff. And so we became country. That was easy for her to slide over a little bit and get a whole pile of work again from the 90s up until year 2000, 2001. And then we kind of backed away from it all and started doing single acts here and there. We went down to a trio, and that was because of economics again. You know, people didn't have that disposable income to go out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So it was just Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So then duets, you know, we were out there playing that kind of thing. And so that's what I'm doing now. And Bruce is playing singles or duets. And yeah.
Yeah, and actually in the 70s, when I was just getting ready to leave Hourglass at that time, remember they were starting to put the dance floor in front of the band.
Yeah.
And lighted dance floor in front of a band trying to do a show didn't work. So I kind of pulled you back. But actually, when I seen you guys there, you actually went out and there was no dancing because you guys were on the dance floor doing a show.
That's right. We had to stand up.
That was pretty sharp. I enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
That was good. Yeah. Oh, I gotta do a thing here. I have two little girls that keep texting my son here, my granddaughters.
Oh.
Taylor and Katie Jo.
All right.
They wanted to say hello. Want Grandpa to say hello. Grandpa loves you.
Hello, also from Underplayed and Underpaid.
Yeah, they're sweeties.
Kate's been here before.
Yes.
She's been a guest.
I recall that.
No,
and I got all kinds of grandchildren. If I started naming them, your show's not long enough.
Yeah, we're getting down.
But I love them all.
Do artists have it easier these days or harder, would you say?
I think, I would say, now, I don't know, Bruce and I haven't talked it over or anything, but I would say they have it a little tougher than we did.
Oh, yeah.
Because the venues are not there to play as many of, there's not as many venues. And the people, with the economy the way it is, there isn't that much disposable income to go out.
Yeah.
And so they really have to work, and they have to play a lot of jobs for nothing. Like, or to get started, you know what I mean? And then it starts to go. And then it's hard to say, well, let's put a band together with 5 people. I remember we used to have bands at the Choo Choo Stop, 6, 7 people, blowing the horns and everything else. And they all had, Buicks.
Grant Smith and Power?
Yeah, they absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it was, so I would say, if I was going to try and, if I was 21 years old and trying to make a band now and wanted to hire 7 guys, where would I go? Where would I go to get paid? So they would have to all have day jobs, and then that means they haven't got time to practice.
It's harder to make a living
you're right.
at it right now.
It's harder
to get into the business, I think, really, than it was for us, because, people that wrote back in the day, it was hard for them, too. It was easier for a cover band to go out and get a good agent and go out and make a living, because people were going out. And that's from the mid-'60s on.
But without the internet, back in the day, we used to send out letters to everybody, and we'd have a mailing list of 300 people, 500, 600 people to a town, and we'd end up writing 600 letters between the band to mail to the next town, 50 cents a letter, and so that they would know we're coming to town. Nowadays, they can just go on the internet, and 300 people can know just like that. We never had that luxury. We never had YouTube.
No.
And so we couldn't be played all over the world. You guys are on YouTube. I'll bet you there's people hitting, and I say this is not a visual thing. So Jim's over there; he's probably on YouTube and getting hits all over the world, you know. And that was hard to do. We could never get much further than Guelph if we didn't go further than
That's
Guelph.
right. That's right. Yeah.
And this show is being broadcasted all over the world too.
There you go.
There you
That's
go. Yeah.
wonderful.
And the one place I didn't mention was a really that you had. Yeah, it certainly had the Wellington Hotel, the boiler room downstairs there, and there was some real fine times down there. That's the first gig we ever played as Hourglass.
I was sad when that place burnt, but I'm glad
Yeah.
they put it back together. It looks still
Yeah.
like it did. Yeah.
Yeah, well, shut up. That's next Wednesday with the fire. Yeah.
Well,
And that's Wyndham and Aramasa and
Yeah, at that
Woolwich.
weird intersection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
But the
tough.
boiler room was quite the place. You had Hank McDonald down there. He was around for years singing country songs. He sounded just like Hank Snow. And I actually played a gig with him down there. And he was really good country boy, and he really did a good job. He was a lot of fun too. There was drink involved.
Do you remember nickel beers, nickel pints?
No.
My dad
I
used to tell me
remember
stories.
10-cent draft, but
10
I was
cent draft.
underage. But I remember when it went to 15 cents, and we'd sneak into the back of the King Eddie there, and we'd have a draft. And like, see, back in the day, you could go into a bar with $2 and two guys could get drunk. You know, but not that I did. And
Tonight, Brian, with Jimmy Jazz.
Yeah, Jimmy Jazz. Well, I'm not allowed to talk about drink specials or anything.
No.
Not allowed to talk about,
No.
but I can say
back in them
publicly.
days, you would get a draft. Then they went from 15 cents, I think, to they left it the same, but they went to a smaller glass. They downsized the glass, so it was actually an increase, but you didn't feel it.
you guys are making me thirsty. Cut it out.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the label that Hourglass signed to, did they put any money and time towards the artist development aspect of, managing or helping a band?
No, it was all us,
Yeah.
It was all independent. There was no.
all independent.
Yeah, a Piece of My Past was a project that we did and paid for ourselves. And back in the day, you guys did it all
Yeah,
yourself.
we did it all. Yeah, we did. We had to pay for the whole thing. It was,
DYI, nothing's changed.
Is that still the same?
yeah.
All
Yeah.
since
But I still say like Hourglass, they spent a lot of money on an album. I wish you could find them tapes because so many good songs on there, and they'd never been played, and they're all originals.
Really?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
have.
these boys here.
Yeah.
Yeah. After I left, they got good.
No, but there was. That's right. We did it. Kenny Friesen produced it, and he worked with Gordon Lightfoot,
Yeah.
and he worked with Anne Murray. At the time, they were all number one on the charts, and so that was perfect for us. So we did an album with him, but we had no management. So the album was great, but nobody heard it. And it cost thousands and thousands of dollars, and it was done at Eastern Sound, which was probably the best studio around at that time. you
Wow.
know. Yeah, so we have that somewhere. But it's all outdated now, So maybe some fans or friends of ours would like to
It's
hear
nasty
it.
to double track on it.
Sure. I'm sure they'd love to.
I'm typing it now.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Pardon me. Do you remember when punk rock hit the scene, and how did that change things, or did it change things at all? At all?
I remember the Ramones, when they came out, and I thought, and as I do, I'm thinking that it was all that's their music, and that's good. I have no problem whether I like it or not. It's immaterial, but they're doing it, and I always love to see a band doing what they like to do, and they're on stage having fun. Now, it wasn't my kind of music, but I didn't mind it, and it didn't change our show much at that time when they came out because we were still doing it, you see. And they were just trying to get in there and do it, So they fought the good battle and they won.
So it didn't, Teenage Head and all these bands, they didn't affect your draw at all?
No.
Because
No,
everything's...
because our as long as there's people my
Yes.
it helped them. As long as there's people my age, I'll have a crowd. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah. I remember when I heard Elvis Costello and I heard the Cars and that Teenage Head and all that. It was great music and it was fun to play. And away you go again. There's that thing about the cycle. You didn't need to have a wall of keyboards and horns and sophisticated.
Yeah.
They could get their recordings almost like a garage sound, and there it was. Raw music again.
Well, that's exactly what it was. It was just right down to the basics there and getting right at it. That's what I liked about it. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to take a couple minutes here and talk about what's going on in Guelph, a local music show, local music website. If you want to know what's going on in Guelph, check out musiclives.ca. Big ups to Aaron Dale, everything that he's doing for the music scene. So there's my show right there on the 15th. So if you go to the webpage, you click on the... I can't get the door. You click on the events page and the calendar pops up, et cetera, et cetera. So there's my show on the 15th, and then also tonight, open stage with Dave Huber at Doogie's in Guelph, and also Paul McLeod, my official after party every Monday, is at Jimmy Jazz. He's awesome. Check him out. Tuesday the 16th, Matty P at Doogie's in Guelph. Wednesday the 17th, Trouble and Daughter with Lazy Slang and Jake McFadden at the Albion Hotel. And also Music Lives hosts Name That Tune at the Jimmy Jazz. On the 18th, which is a Thursday, Mike Something is at Doogie's in Guelph. And also, Gain Music hosts Black Rhino Riot with Bootleg Glory and Mad Anthony at the E-Bar. That's going to be a good show. Big ups to Nick Weaver for throwing that show. And on the 19th, The Pink Stuff, The Cheap Speakers, Paint and Mike T at the ANAF Club 344 down on Gordon Street. And that's Friday the 19th. Check that out. Also on the 19th, Gain Music hosts Lara Sky with Pat Maloney, Lindy and Oxford Blues at Van Gogh's here. And also on the 19th, it's Friday, Kickstand Productions hosts The Locusts Have No King at the Red Papaya, and I got a poster here for that I'm going to put up on in the station. Also on Saturday, Blues Night featuring Mo Coffee and more at the Red Papaya. You guys should come out and check out this kid Buffalo Jones, and also Braden Phelan, who've had on the show. Both kids are awesome, and Mo's going to be hosting the night. If you haven't seen Mo, I suggest you come out and check out some old school blues. Yeah. In the interview that I did with Mo, he was talking about jamming with the Grateful Dead, and and then he met a girl, named Rose, and so he moved up the well, that's going to be a good time, and make sure y'all come out to I think it's $3 cover at the Red Papaya. Also on Saturday, Gain Music and Chronic Noise hosts Arkham Awaits EP release with Sleep When You're Dead, Sleepless, and the Coyote Way at Van Gogh's here. That's going to be an awesome night. So if you like the heavy stuff, it's kind of one of those things. I wish I could be two places at once. Van Gogh's here. Check that out. Also, The Test Icicles at Doogie's in Guelph. And Gain Music host Jordan Raycroft with Ben Wilkins at the Jimmy Jazz. So there you go. Oh, and also on the 21st, Kaleidoscope Promotions host Snowblink at the E-Bar. And what I consider the official Guelph open stage, Nathan Coles hosts open stage at Jimmy Jazz. You guys should come out.
He's amazing.
Yeah, he is good. And Dave Huber and friends at Doogie's in Guelph. So there you go. What's going on this next week on musiclives.ca. Music dead, they think not. And also, if you are in a band, make sure you go there and put up a band profile, because it's a great way for the solidarity of all the different promoters and stuff to come to the webpage and put together shows. So we got about 40 seconds left. Was there anything you'd like to say?
For the older people, I'm at the Red Chev on 3 to 7 on Saturday.
Every Saturday?
On this Saturday.
This Saturday?
Yeah.
And where else can people find you? You said the arena?
I don't play the arena. No, I play out of town. Only place I play in Guelph now is Red Chev.
Okay. And that's this coming Saturday. What time?
3 to 7.
3 to 7. And
open stage.
Open stage.
Anybody.
Great.
And I play every Friday afternoon. Thank God it's Friday at the Arena Bar in Guelph. So come on around there and join in and party with me. And it's always a great time. And I'd like to thank Brian. Thank you very much for a great show. And thanks for getting us older guys back out there talking. So thank you.
Thank you so much for being awesome guests. And I hope to run into you guys again. Maybe even have you back again. We'll see how it goes. Yeah. And thank you very much. All right, so we got to go. I'll catch up with you at Jimmy Jazz later on. Stay tuned for All Over the Map with Harry, the Mighty H. And here's some Paul McLeod. It's the song Be My Girl as we close out the show, Underplayed and Underpaid. See you next week. And ciao for now.
Got no time for the human race. Everybody fighting all over the place. Why don't we grab a bottle and head uptown? Baby, won't you be my girl? I trade my old 6-shooter for a diamond ring. Take you all the places that you never been. We'll make a right at the border and just get lost. Baby, won't you be my girl? I ain't got no time for feeling lonely. I got the whole town, baby, on a little old string. Come on out tonight and you can be my thing. I trade my old 6-shooter for a diamond ring. Take you all the places that you never been. We'll make a right at the border and just get lost. Baby, won't you be my girl? Got no time for being lonely. I got the whole town, baby, on a little old string. Come on out tonight and you can be my thing. Well, I got no time for the human race. Everybody fighting all over the place. Why don't we grab a bottle and head uptown? Baby, won't you be my girl? Baby, won't you be my girl? Baby, won't you be my girl?